Hello, America, and all my 35 subscribers. It's the 6th of June, 2022. It's decision day for me. Happy birthday, Stephen. Let's take a look back at what's happened to me this year. On January the 12th, my grandson was born. Hey, Rex. One of the greatest days of my life. So what do? I fly out to Denver to celebrate at Shotgun Willie's. Why? Because that's a place I'm accepted and I enjoy it. I'm sitting out here at the Denver airport where I've been for a day or so, just thinking and regrouping, and I'm a little bit scattered. It's kind of difficult living in a car. At least I'm not walking the streets. Anyway, January 12th, grandson was born. Shortly thereafter, contracted COVID, went in the hospital. As I was getting over that, I fell out of my Jeep, broke my femur right at my hip, had surgery the next day, had a titanium plate put on my hip, had a titanium rod attached to it, 10mm titanium rod running the length of my thigh down, and a 4-inch bolt like drilled through my leg bone down there to hold it in place right above my knee. So I went to rehab. I stayed there one day. I said, screw this. I'm not gonna sit here and let y'all treat me like I got leprosy or something, because they were all screwed up. They were all confused over my COVID status. So I left there. Basically, I rehabbed myself by doing Uber Eats across the country. I just started driving. I went all the way from Daytona Beach, Florida to Carlsbad, California, and I delivered Uber Eats at cities all across the country. That's how I paid for my trip. And then in March 23rd, my mother died. My mother and I lived together for the past 10 years. It's a mutual thing. I was her security blanket, a light bulb changer, and she was always there, so I knew when I'd come back from a trip, I always had a place to go. But she died, and my cousin sold the house, so that meant I was really homeless, living in a car, which I'd been doing most of this year anyway. Stayed in a few hotels, mostly sleeping in the car. So I got real depressed in April, and I went and stayed at my son's, Stephen's. I stayed there for 10 days, and I parked my car and I didn't start it. I didn't leave the whole time. I just stayed there, taking care of Rexford the whole time, feeding him day and night. And when I got through there, I knew I had to go. I just couldn't be a burden to them anymore. It was embarrassing, the shape I was in. I didn't want to be a burden to them. So I made myself leave. And I drove from there to the VA over in Biloxi and admitted myself for having suicidal ideations. So they took me in and they let me stay there a week, gave me 3 meals a day, 3 snacks a day, let me sleep, and that's all I did was just rest, eat, and take a few little medications they gave me. I got out of there in the end of April, got out on a Friday, went back to Foley, Alabama, and did like 3 deliveries that day, made like 60-something bucks with Uber Eats. That night I slept in the Walmart parking lot in Foley, Alabama, hot and sticky and having all these weird kind of anxiety attacks and nightmares, like what am I gonna do? Oh God, what am I gonna do? So the next morning I got up and I went to work on a Saturday, driving people for Uber. I made over $300 working out of Foley, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach. I was taking people to Pensacola, to the airport. I went to like Florida 3 times. And For Uber, when you go to another state, you can't pick up another passenger there. You can only pick up passengers in one state. So I said, this ain't gonna work. The following day, actually that night, after I got through, it was dark when I got through, I went and bought me a steak dinner. And I drove to Mobile, parked in their parking lot, booked me a one-way flight to Denver, Colorado for that day. That Sunday, I flew to Denver, had enough money to get a one-way ticket, a hotel room, not the best hotel in the world, in Thornton for a week, and a rent-a-car for a week. I came out here, I got here, I'd been investigating Denver for years, so I told Uber, transfer me to Denver. They said it's gonna take about 4 to 5 days. That was on a Sunday. Tuesday, I was cleared. I went to work. I rented a car that day for a few hours just to work the system, figure out the system here. Then Thursday, I rented a car that was set up with this company to work with Uber. I showed up there, picked the car up at 11 a.m. At 11:20, I was ready to go, got my first Uber ride. And I went to work that day, and before I laid down to sleep that night, I made $453. Paid for my rent-a-car, which was $316, plus tolls. If you go on toll roads, you gotta pay for that. So anyway, paid for my rent-a-car the first day. I said, this will work. I just kept working and working. I was making bank, and I just worked myself right into the ground. I just ground myself down. Even though I was able to afford, I was staying in hotels and just working all hours of the day and night, and just, man, I just finally, after about 17 days, I just got burnt out. So I had the bright idea. First of all, the weather was fixing to change. It's one of those weird days in Denver where the weather was going to drop over 50 degrees on that Friday. I said, dang, I don't want to be here for this. So what do? My dumb ass says, I'm gonna go to Carlsbad, California. So I take off driving. That's over 1,000 miles, man. That was stupid. I can't believe I made that decision. Anyway, I get to go through Las Vegas. I do a few deliveries there. Everything's going along fine. I'm thinking this is gonna work out good. I can stay in Carlsbad for 4 or 5 days, do some Uber Eats over there, make some money, and come on back. As soon as I hit the California line, everything went sideways. You could no longer, I couldn't drive for Uber. That car wasn't accepted. And right after that, my damn rent-a-car said, your rent-a-car, I got a notification, your rent-a-car has expired. The hell, I'm still sitting in it. I'm still sitting in it. Just everything just blew up. I ended up being stranded, broke, in Carlsbad for nearly 2 weeks. I met this homeless girl, tried my best to help her. I let her stay with me. She stayed in my car with me like 6 nights total. Just every day it was, she was, hated her family. Just the same thing over and over. Never could make a decision to either go to a shelter or go to her family. And I found out her brother flew out a year prior to try to take her home. She wouldn't go. Anyway, I just couldn't help her. And finally, 1st of June, I got my check. I got paid. Plus I'd sold a cell phone, iPhone on eBay. So I had $1,300. So I said, that's it. Took off back for Denver, called Uber, said, transfer me back to Denver, which they're still in the process of doing. They had to do another background check, and that hasn't cleared yet. So I've been in Denver here for a few days, just trying to save money, stay low profile, just figuring it out. So today, 6th of June, I've made a decision. I can't rely on the federal government. I can't live off the little disability check I've been living on all these years. All these years I had a free rent and a place to stay. I don't have that anymore. And I don't want to live the rest of my life in a car and live like this. So I've decided I'm gonna have to work, do the best I can, make as much money as I can, and get out of this situation. So I have a phone interview today with a company to do delivery work for them. Today I plan to go to Planet Fitness, get cleaned up, get a shower, get a shave, get me trimmed up. Go do my laundry, get my clothes clean, get my shit together. Pray for me, America. It's well documented fact I got commitment issues, I've got mental health issues. Some days it's like God is just with me and I'm just doing all this stuff for God. The next day I'm like a crazy guy walking around. I need your prayers. I need help. I started to GoFundMe for gas money. How many people contributed? One, me. I guess I'm on my own. And you know, when it gets right down to it, I was talking to this girl at the airport yesterday, when it gets right down to it, the nitty-gritty, there's only one person in your life that's really cares about you, and that's yourself. Only you know what you need, how you feel. I'm talking about human beings. There's only one person you can really count on, and that's yourself. It's a terrifying thing when you can't count on yourself. That's terrifying. I want to be able to rely on myself. So, happy birthday, Stephen. My new life starts today. We'll see how it goes. I flew into Denver on a United Airlines 787. Flew in style. Saying about gambling. What is it saying? Don't be one of those guys that are